Welcome to New Jersey. We're going to talk about the contract and attorney review. In every other place in the world, when you sign a contract, that means that you've signed a contract and you've committed, except in New Jersey, where you'll sign the contract, and then when the other party signs the contract, at that point, the signed contract goes to the attorneys for review. And during this period, either party can cancel the deal with no penalty for no reason. So you don't have a deal until the signed contract goes to the attorneys and completes attorney review, where they'll create a rider that will cover a lot of other terms. They'll rewrite parts of the contract. And then once both parties sign that, that's when the obligations to each party are formalized, with the exception of a few contingencies. But the most important thing about this is the first page of the contract, which is the notice to buyer and seller, which it kind of explains attorney review. It explains who each party represents. It also says that you're not going to be able to change the contract once it's been signed without the attorney. It's going to say that the contract is final and binding until you have the attorney review it. It also talks about a time frame in here of 3 days. But the fact of the matter is that the very first thing that the attorney does is they send a letter to the other side that says, we disapprove of this contract, which essentially stops the clock. It usually says, we disapprove of the contract, except if you agree to the following, and that really starts the attorney review period. So the attorney review period ideally will last a couple of days, but I've seen attorney review periods last a couple of weeks, depending on some sticking points and that kind of thing. But you want to know that when you sign this, even though it says, you'll be obligated after 3 days, that the first thing the attorney will do is stop the contract. So when you're signing the contract, whether you're a buyer or a seller, the very first thing that I'm going to do is ask you who your attorney is, so that once the contract is signed by both parties, we can distribute it to both attorneys, connect them very quickly so that you can start the deal moving forward. So this is the attorney review period. If you have questions about it, there's definitely some links to some articles that you can look at on the internet to confirm what I'm saying from attorneys and that kind of thing, because I know it's crazy. It's like, hey, you signed this, but it doesn't really mean anything. But that's the attorney review period in New Jersey.